Have you ever wondered where the center of the universe is? It sounds like a simple question, but the answer is stranger than you might think. We are used to things having a middle, like the center of a circle, or the core of the Earth, or even the Sun at the center of our solar system. So it feels natural to ask, what's at the center of everything? But when it comes to the entire universe, the truth is very different. The universe doesn't have a center at all. This might sound impossible, even a little confusing, but once we explore how the universe works, it will start to make sense. When people first hear about the Big Bang, they often imagine it as a huge explosion that happened in one spot, blasting matter out into empty space. It's like picturing a firework exploding in the sky, with sparks flying out in every direction. If that picture were true, then there would have to be a single point in space where the explosion started. That point would naturally feel like the center of the universe. This idea makes sense at first, because our human experience is built on seeing things explode or spread out into their surroundings. A balloon pops, and the pieces fly outward from the place it burst. A rock is dropped in water, and ripples move away from the spot where it touched the surface. So, it feels natural to think the Big Bang worked in the same way. But here's the tricky part, that mental picture is misleading. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion into empty space, because before it, there was no space for things to explode into. Instead, space itself was expanding, stretching everywhere at once. That means there is no single spot that could be called the center. This misunderstanding is common, and it's the reason many people still think the universe must have a middle point. So, if the universe isn't expanding from a single point, then how is it expanding? The truth is that space itself is stretching, and it's happening everywhere at the same time. Instead of matter rushing outward into a pre-existing emptiness, the very fabric of space is growing, carrying galaxies along with it. Think of it this way, galaxies are not like bullets flying away from the barrel of a gun. Instead, they are more like raisins baked inside a loaf of bread. As the bread rises and expands, the raisins all move farther apart from each other, even though none of them is flying on its own. The raisins aren't rushing away from some central raisin, they're being carried apart because the dough around them is stretching. That's what's happening with our universe. Galaxies are not racing away into empty space, they are being carried apart as the space between them grows larger and larger. And here's the amazing part, this expansion doesn't favor one direction or one location. It's happening everywhere, all at once. This is why we say the universe has no center. Every region of space is just as valid as any other, because the expansion doesn't start from one single place. It's a property of the entire universe itself. And that's the key to understanding why the idea of a center simply doesn't fit. One of the best ways to picture this is by using the balloon analogy. Imagine a balloon with little dots drawn on its surface. Each dot represents a galaxy. Now, as you blow air into the balloon's surface stretches and grows bigger. What happens to the dots? They all start moving farther away from each other. Here's the interesting part, if you look at the balloon's surface, you won't find a single special dot that everything is moving away from. Every dot sees the others drifting farther apart. From the point of view of any one dot, it feels like it's at the center. But in reality, there is no center on the balloon's surface at all. The stretching is happening everywhere. This is very similar to our universe. Space itself is like the balloon's surface, stretching in every direction. Galaxies are like the dots, moving farther apart not because they're traveling on their own, but because the space between them is expanding. Just like on the balloon, no point in space is more central than another. And there's another detail worth noticing, the center of the balloon exists only in the air inside it, not on the surface where the dots are drawn. In the same way, if you imagine our universe as a kind of surface, the center would not exist anywhere inside the universe we live in. To us, there is no center, only expansion everywhere. This simple picture helps us see why the universe feels so different from our everyday experiences. It's not like an explosion from a single point, it's more like the endless stretching of space itself, where every galaxy is caught in the flow. Now, Here's something truly mind-bending: no matter where you are in the universe, it looks like you are at the center of it all. Imagine standing in a galaxy billions of light-years away from us. From that distant galaxy, scientists would see the same thing we see here: other galaxies drifting farther and farther away in every direction. This happens because the expansion of space is uniform. It doesn't matter if you're on Earth, in another galaxy, or even in a completely different region of the universe. Wherever you are, it will always look as though all the other galaxies are moving away from you. To every observer, their location seems like the special point where expansion began. But that's the illusion. The truth is that there is no privileged place. Every spot in space experiences the same stretching. So, the reason it feels like we're in the middle is simply because the expansion looks the same from every viewpoint. It's like standing in the middle of a loaf of rising bread again. From the perspective of one raisin, all the other raisins are drifting away. But if you were sitting inside a different raisin on the other side of the loaf, you'd see the exact same thing. There's no single, main raisin that holds the true center. The growth is everywhere. This idea is powerful, because it means our position in the cosmos isn't special or unique. We don't live in the middle of everything, we live in a universe where every place looks like the middle. If the universe has no center, then a new question naturally comes up: does it at least have an edge? Where does it all stop? This is another place where our everyday thinking can trick us. We are used to objects having boundaries. A book has pages that end. A city has borders you can cross. Even Earth itself is a sphere with a surface you can step off of into space. So it feels natural to ask, where does the universe end? But here's the strange truth: there is no edge. The universe is not expanding into some empty void. Instead, space itself is stretching, and it carries everything within it along the way. Asking, what's outside the universe, is a bit like asking, what's north of the North Pole? It sounds like it should make sense, but the question itself doesn't quite fit. Another way to see it is by going back to the balloon analogy. When the balloon expands, the surface grows bigger, but the dots on the surface never move toward an edge, because there is no edge on the surface itself. The balloon's skin just stretches endlessly. In the same way, our universe expands without needing an outside space to grow into. This is why the universe doesn't have a center or an edge. It isn't a sphere sitting inside something larger. It is space itself, growing everywhere, with no middle and no border. And this changes the way we think about our place in the cosmos, because we are not at the center, and neither is anyone else. When we finally accept that the universe has no center and no edge, it changes the way we see everything. It means there is no single, special place where it all began, no cosmic middle point that everything revolves around. The laws of the universe apply everywhere, not just here. For us humans, this is both humbling and amazing. In ancient times, people believed Earth was the center of everything. Later, we learned that Earth orbits the Sun, and then that our Sun is just one star among billions in the Milky Way. Now we know that even our galaxy is only one of countless others. And the biggest truth of all? The universe itself doesn't even have a center. Every place is as ordinary, or as extraordinary, as any other. This idea also challenges how we think about direction and location. On Earth, we can point north, south, east, or west, and find places that are different from one another. But on the scale of the universe, there is no preferred direction, no ultimate middle to measure from. Every point of view is equally valid. It also reminds us that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. If there is no center, then we are not standing at the heart of creation, we are floating on the edge of infinity, in a cosmos that looks the same no matter where you stand. It's a reminder that our place is not fixed or privileged, but connected to a grand, endless whole. So, what does it really mean when we say the universe has no center? It means that we can't point to a single place and call it the heart of everything. It means the cosmos doesn't have a middle, or an edge, or a boundary. It stretches in all directions, without favor, without preference. And yet, that doesn't make us small or unimportant. Instead, it reveals something beautiful, that every place in the universe is just as much a part of the whole as any other. In a way, everywhere can be thought of as the center, because the expansion looks the same no matter where you stand. This idea forces us to step outside our everyday way of thinking. We live our lives believing in beginnings, endings, and middle points. But the universe is far stranger, and far more mysterious, than that. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember, there is no center out there, no cosmic landmark to measure from. And yet, somehow, we are all standing in the middle of the infinite.